Welcome back, everybody. You're tuned in to another episode of The Screen Time. I am your host, Tony, as you saw the nice wide of the stew there. I'm going solo on the table producing today, but we got Mike on the table over there on the mic, and we have Renee over there on the couch as well. Michael's seeming pretty hyped. He's found his notebook. It's a great time, dude. Ooh, buddy, how you feeling today?
I'm okay.
Okay, Michael's okay. He's got the green hoodie on with the green Adidas hat, dude. They can't see it, though, because Michael didn't want a camera on him, which I said, Michael, that's okay, Michael. You don't want a camera on you?
I did.
That's totally fine. He says,
I came in here expecting
He says it was pointless, he said.
Yeah, because by now the show's starting. It's like, what?
Well, maybe you should have came early.
I thought that I was going to walk in and there's just going to be here.
Oh, you hear that, Renee?
I know.
Oh, my gosh. Anywho,
he asked me yesterday
dude.
if I was going to be here today.
Yeah. What? That's what Renee said to me, dude. And now I'm talking to you, Michael.
That was right.
And you were going to say to me now, sipping your tea, man. We can get you a camera.
No,
it's really no problem, dude.
It's over now.
If you're tuned in right now, Brian says, yo, what up, fellas? Brian, what do you think about Mike not having a camera? Do you think he should deserve a camera?
Mm-mm.
Do you think,
I don't.
He's hitting his mic.
I don't deserve
Thanks for tuning in. Brian Barnaby, dude. The big the big episode he's tuning in for, because we're going to be recapping a lot, dude. Oh, Brian, with one of his new favorite sound bites.
Why do you have it tight on me, dude?
He says, why do you have it tight on me, dude?
He loves that, yeah.
He does, dude. It's okay, bud. It's okay, Michael. So we got a great big episode for you guys. Brian says, give the man what he wants, dude.
No, it's all right. Not now.
He doesn't want the camera. He doesn't want it.
Now that's what I want.
That's what he wants. I'm giving him what he wants, which is nothing.
Technically.
He wants nothing, dude. Anyway, dude, I'm getting all sidetracked here with the Michael debacle.
Yeah.
We got a great episode for you. We're recapping a lot, actually. A whole lot of Pedro Pascal in today's episode. As we typically do in the Tuesday episodes, we're recapping, the most recent Last of Us episode, which will be episode 7, as well as talking about the newest season of The Mandalorian, which came out last Wednesday. I didn't get a chance to watch it until last night, actually. Believe it or not, I watched The Last of Us and Mandalorian back to back, got the double dose last night. So it's fresh in my mind, dude. But I want to start off with The Last of Us, because I would say definitely a big episode. I think for them last night. It was episode 7. For those of you counting at home, it's an 8-episode season. So next week is the season finale of season 1, excuse me. And I really can't believe it. Such a great show and a great season. We're finally coming to a close. And I think episode 7, and from what I've heard around the interwebs, dude, in terms of how good this episode was, it was definitely one of the more well-received ones. And for me personally, I think it was the best one to date, because it was such a strong episode, just in terms of acting, writing, violence, dude. I think, we're kind of finally, finding some good side characters here. It's pretty cool how you're noticing, these little enemies, these bad guys that kind of come up, seemingly are lasting just one episode. So I would imagine, I think maybe the next episode is a little bit of a cliffhanger, being the season finale, introducing a new, bad guy that we're going to kind of have maybe a little bit longer than just one episode, because we saw with the woman's name who I forget, the Rose character, some of the one, the one who was looking for Henry and the little kid, she lasted one episode, really. Even, Ellie's friend Riley too lasted one episode. This guy from this episode lasted one episode as well. So, we've seen that kind of theme. Brian wants to know if we have a voiceover for Mando. If I had to put a voiceover on Mando, I guess it would kind of be something like this. Yes. Give the boy to me. Mike doesn't have his headphones on, so he doesn't know what I'm saying yet.
I can hear you.
Oh, he can hear me.
I'm not deaf.
Oh. Yeah, but I have the megaphone thing on, dude.
Oh, I see. I don't hear that.
Yeah, so you can read your rudeness at the door.
It's at the door.
Oh, dude, sounds like it followed you in here like one of your farts. Renee wasn't paying attention to that one. Anyway, Brian. So episode 7 here, The Last of Us, we know the predicament that Joel and Ellie are in here. Joel getting stabbed now. They're in the house with the garage and the horse, and dead of winter here. And it kind of starts off the episode of this group of people here, led by this man who I fucking forget his name. I wrote it down and everything last night. And I kind of am annoyed that I forgot, dude. Joy episode, Rare Dream, Joy Transform, Reality, Posters, Bedroom. No. Episode 7. What part? Was this episode 8? Oh, episode 8, dude. My apologies on that one, dude. Episode 8 recap, dude. Did I? Oh yeah, I thought so. All right, so this guy they met, right, as they're kind of went to the University of Colorado, you know, the whole thing, right? The cut, and they kill this guy. And it's like, oh, like no nonsense, whatever. Do they kill the guy? Whatever, who cares? Just some random dude who they didn't even know. And now again, we're introduced at the top of this episode to David, who is kind of like at first this kind of creepy dude, just by the looks of him. And you kind of understand why. I mean, I understand it's apocalypse, but he's got really like thinning hair, he's balding, he looks like he's malnourished, super pale, dead of winter. His name is David. He's like reciting in like this big dining room. It looks like what used to be a big restaurant. He's just reciting Bible verses. And he's reciting this verse that sounds like, what you would say at a funeral. And you see this girl crying. And she's like, oh, like, he's like comforting this girl. And you find out that this is, she asks, hey, like, when are we going to bury him? So, like, you realize, like, oh, it's kind of like a funeral thing. And he goes, well, the ground's too cold. We're going to bury him in the spring. Which is kind of weird, dude. I mean, you understand that the ground is too cold, but I'm like, obviously, it's someone you care for. This is just some schmo you shot. So it's like, you're like, wow, it's kind of a weird feeling from David over here. So you're getting this weird, religion culty vibe, almost like Book of Eli situation where he's the only one who really knows what the Bible can do, what religion can do. And, you're getting right away this feel for like this guy, David, is controlling these people. Very weird stuff. But then you kind of fast forward, Ellie, Joel, out of food. Ellie's like, yo, be right back, bro. And they're gonna go, she's gonna go hunting. He's chasing this rabbit, finds the deer, shoots the deer, deer's injured, runs off. And now she's kind of tracking down this deer, following the blood stains and whatnot. And you do find out that this town with David, they are out of food and they can't hunt. There's a lot of animals around, but you do hear them say, "Oh, like there's, I think we spotted some deer like a couple miles from here, whatever, dude." So you kind of see now that how this is kind of mirroring, and it's like, oh, all right, well, clearly these two are gonna run into each other, and they do, Ellie finds this deer, and then it cuts to David and his boy. By the way, his boy is played by the voice actor who voices Joel in the in the actual series, which is pretty dope that we have that. A little bit, but it's not terrible. It's fine. You can keep it open. So the guy is Joel is a right hand man here, which is pretty dope to kind of see that. We saw a few characters like that kind of take place so far in the series. The guy who voiced Tommy, his brother, has been a character of the game too, so that's pretty cool to see. But anyway, these two find the deer. Ellie's there. Bang. She's like, hey, like trying to, navigate the situation. It's kind of her first time. She's awkwardly holding this rifle. She's out on her own. She's trying to help Joel get some food as he's almost like dying here. In the house. And so she's like, hey, like give me medicine. And she kind of like is trying to play it cool right away. She's like, oh, I'm from a big group, I'm not just alone, like trying to be like, not obviously trying to take advantage of, but the guy David plays it off as also playing it off as cool. hey, we're from a big group, you know, we could trade you for some of your venison, we're starving, whatever. And she right away gets a little too happy. It's like, oh, do you have medicine like for infections, whatever? And that's when they can tell, like, all right, this girl probably isn't in a big group. Seems like she's on her own. She's clearly with someone who's injured, whatever. And right away, you kind of get this ominous feeling. But David's like, all right, he sends his boy back to town. He's like, hey, it's gonna be like a 4 mile round trip, whatever. Let's take some time, build a fire, it's cold, whatever. So they kind of get a little cozy. Ellie obviously on her guard, and they start to interact now in this dialogue, and you kind of see that David's kind of, giving a little bit of background on himself, where he was chosen to lead these people, but obviously they are kind of on the fritz sort of deal, in terms of being malnourished and food and such. And then it kind of takes a little dark turn, where he's like, oh, like everything he believes happens for a reason. And he was like, he was like, oh, like we lost one of our scouts. He was killed by a man who's said to have been traveling with a little girl. And like then that's when Ellie gets like super on edge. And she so super on edge, and she kind of like is obviously again on guard, like what the fuck, like they know who I am. And that at that point, of course, the guy is back, David's right hand man is back with the gun. They take her captive. Unfortunately at that point, I think she tries to make like a run for it. I'm trying to remember. Oh, no, he puts the gun down. She ends up just leaving with the medicine. They take the venison. They go back to camp. The people of the camp pretty upset that they didn't kill her, because clearly everyone really loved this guy. So at that point, Ellie kind of knows what's up. She goes back home, gives Joel some medicine. It is penicillin, I believe. Syringe in there. I believe by the next morning now, because it is still daylight, they're kind of scouting this area. They follow her. David even says, hey, it'll be easy to follow through the snow. Just track her in the morning. Don't worry about it. But they do kind of underestimate her, because I think she is a girl, right? So they end up finding the house. She tries to make a diversion on the horse. She ends up getting horse gets killed. She gets captured. But she does tell she gives Joel a knife, and he literally he's like, like trying to recover here. And she is like, dude, people are coming. Take this knife. And then comes out and just fucking kill him, right? And of course, she gets captured. 3 of those dudes go back to camp. 2 dudes are scouting the area looking for him. Of course, one dude finds him, but he just comes out of the shadows with a fucking knife in the basement, slits his throat, basically, stabs him in the back of the neck. And kind of Joel is wincing his way through here, but again, he's kind of driven by the emotion of I have to save Ellie. And then we kind of cut now back and forth to Ellie being captive, and this is pretty interesting here because the first time we see these two again now interact in a different environment where Ellie is kind of David's prisoner at this point, and he comes in here again, kind of showing his hands and being somewhat nice to her, but kind of has like this weird fixation about her. And again, you learn a little bit about his background, where he wasn't religious before the apocalypse. He was just like a English math teacher for middle school, but it seems like he's found like this violent side of himself in the apocalypse. And he says to Ellie, hey, like, I see that you're violent. Like, let's like team up together, and we can be together, conquer, whatever. Kind of like this weird, again, a weird fixation he has with her. And at this point, he's kind of like extending his hand out to her on the bars. They're kind of like touching hands, and she just fucking breaks his finger. He's tight. And also in that scene, obviously at that point, she clearly doesn't take his offer. But also in this scene, Ellie notices an ear that's been kind of chopped off. And that's kind of why she realizes, like, hey, this guy isn't good, because he's been secretly feeding his people humans. Because he, I guess, comes from the angle of like, hey, they picked me to let them survive, and I'm doing the best they can. But also, he's not telling them that they're fucking eating people, okay? Which is so nasty. They're eating their dead, basically, right? So it's so nasty. obviously wrong. Okay, Ellie doesn't want to do that. Whatever. Um, so moving on from there now, Joel, they cut to like this really dope torture scene where you kind of get a good feel for how Joel kind of handled business, back in the day when he needed to be ruthless. And after he killed the first guy, he threw the body out in the backyard, hoping to get the second guy in. And he does exactly that. That dead body obviously lures in the second guy. He comes to see it. Joel comes up behind, butt of the gun, bang, knocks out that guy. Now that guy now wakes up. He's duct taped to a piece of wood. His boy is duct taped to a love sheet, love chair, whatever, love chair, in the house. And right away, he clearly has been beating his boy for a little bit. He's trying to get some info out of him in terms of, gives him a map. First, he stabs him right above the kneecap with a knife, and it's like, if you don't tell me where we're at, and then point to where the camp is and how I get there, I'm gonna rip your kneecap out of your knee. And of course, the guy, he's like, hey, like I'm gonna ask your buddy, and he better tell me the same exact place, or you're gonna be in trouble, right? So the guy tells him, and he kills that guy. And the other guy's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Can't kill that guy. I'm not gonna tell you anything. And Joel ruthlessly is like, oh, it's fine. Like, I believe your buddy. Kills that guy. So again, you're kind of getting a glimpse in terms of how Joel took care of business. And again, something he clearly, you saw from previous episodes, not fond of. But in this circumstance of it's Ellie's life, he's resorting to basically any means necessary, right? To kind of to save her, to get her back. So he's kind of on the move now towards the town. That Ellie, in the meantime, Dave and his boy come in, and they're gonna do exactly what they said, which is chop Ellie up, probably eat her and stuff like that. So they take her out of the cage, throw her down, bang on the table, and she's like, wait, no, I'm infected. Of course, they stop. They look at her arm, and they're talking. And now at this point, again, kind of underestimating maybe Ellie, the fact that she's just a little girl. But she takes the meat cleaver when they're not looking and stabs one guy right in the throat, kills him, runs out. Now there's David, just kind of, grabs the meat cleaver, runs out after her. And she kind of is hiding now. She's locked into this restaurant, hiding here, grabs a piece of wood from the fireplace, throws it at him, misses, hits a curtain that lights on fire. And again, I think this is maybe David, kind of misjudging the situation. Didn't take the fire very seriously, just kind of whatever happened to the fire. And at this point, he is kind of toying with her, telling her what she's gonna do to him and stuff like that. Obviously pretty violent stuff that he's gonna do to her, including chopping up and eating, right? Whatnot. So they kind of get into a little bit of a tussle. Again, at this point, it's almost mirroring what happened in the video game where you're Ellie's character playing this type of role. And, David gets a hold of Ellie. Again, this is after, he stabs her. She stabs him in the back. She's obviously getting knocked around and stuff. It's a pretty brutal fight scene. And what seems to be something that was almost the end of Ellie, because he gets a hold of her, and obviously her being a smaller girl, getting easily overpowered. But she reaches for that meat cleaver, able to get it, stabs him, and it's a pretty interesting choice here. Where again, this is kind of a point where you would, maybe some people would maybe want to see the gore of him getting his kind of face smashed in by the meat cleaver, but they chose to show that ISO of just Ellie, again emphasizing her, I guess, journey and change through this whole thing, because that she's seen violence, that she's a violent person, but this is the first time where you're really seeing her go like berserker status, and it's just like, I mean, the man's clearly been dead, and she's just hacking at his face with this meat cleaver, blood splattering on her face. She doesn't care. She's just like, again, obviously, he was getting to her with what he was saying, and all that rage is just an emotion, just dude, wailing on this dude at this point, dead body. And she comes out, gets the keys from her, walks away, opens up that door, and it's obviously it's cold out, so it's like she's just breathing fire, like she's coming out smoking. And it's just kind of, you see it on her face. And of course, Joel at that point gets there, grabs her, and she's, totally freaked out, not really even sure what is going on still almost. And he, for the first time since episode 1, refers to someone as his baby girl. The last person obviously being his daughter. Now it's Ellie, this kind of daughter-esque type of role we've seen. That father-daughter mentality we've seen kind of flourish out of these past few episodes. And he puts his coat over her, and they kind of walk away, and it's just, one of those episodes, where it was just totally gruesome. Of course, again, still to the T of the video game. So I knew it was going down, but obviously it went down a little differently. And kind of showing Ellie's journey and kind of how that character develops during this episode and what she was really, I guess, kind of forced to do, but also like I said, she is a violent person. She inherently can do these things, but again, she was put in a situation where she kind of was forced. It was, do or die, for her. And you could see on her face, someone as young as her experiencing something as traumatic as that, taking a toll, I think. Um, so, uh, so like I said, probably one of the better episodes. In terms of David's character, I think he absolutely nailed it. The whole cannibalism thing, I think, is something that's always kind of touched upon in these apocalyptic movies or shows. And it just kind of showed. I mean, the reason why it's done so much is because, desperation can get really ugly, and that's what these people were. They were desperate for food. They were dying. They were starving. I mean, they showed them eating rations. It was just like a spoonful of food. Um, so it was, pretty crazy. And it's interesting to see kind of, I guess, maybe what happens next episode, because it seems like they were in and out of that town. Maybe you don't see what happens next with the rest of the, that group of people in that town. But again, you saw again, really focusing on the development, the relationship of Joel and Ellie's, interactions here, of their relationship. And again, of course, focusing more on Ellie these past few episodes as Joel has been kind of knocked out. But again, you do see some more of Joel with that torture scene. And I thought it was really done beautifully. The acting in here, I mean, Ellie was so good. I said David was so good too. Pedro Pascal too in the torture scene was really great, and the shots were cool. When Ellie and David first talk, when Ellie's a prisoner, they choose to kind of almost shoot, they shot David's scenes like as if you're inside the cage looking out, and same thing for Ellie's shots as you were outside the cage looking in, so you kind of see that cage, get another feel for how each character is looking at each other. They're looking at each other on the other side of these fences. And I think that, the whole conversation, David's talking about how they're the same. And I think the way they shot it with, being on the opposite side of these fences, yeah, maybe we were talking about it was true. But I think at the heart of it, these two people are on two different sides of the fence. They're still different, Ellie being someone who wouldn't do something as shitty as not only eat other humans, but not tell her people that they're eating other humans, So I think there was a really great job there in the writing, and having her again, like that line where it's like, my name, where he's asking Ellie for her name constantly, she's not giving it to him, and finally he's like, after she breaks his finger, she's like, Ellie, like, my name is Ellie. Go tell your people Ellie is the girl who broke your fucking finger. Just so badass. It really is. It was so cool. Great episode. Super stoked. Great setup, I think, for episode 9, which is going to be, our last episode of the season. I can't believe it came by this quick, and I'm super excited to see kind of where they're going with episode 9. So I guess we'll kind of see there. Excuse me. Obviously coming out this Sunday, the season finale. I think it's going to be, one for the record books, as I said. I don't know if I was saying it before the show to Mike or on the show. I think it's going to be somewhat of a cliffhanger as we kind of see maybe a more developed, a more permanent kind of enemy. But we'll see, no biggie. If not, because again, I mean, I think David, that first woman, Karen or Claire, I forget her name. But she kind of like, but David, they really nailed. He was a great, one episode villain. I thought he absolutely nailed it. He was super creepy. someone who I think could be feared, I should say. And then, of course, someone who I can see myself, I can see people following him because of the whole, him preaching the Bible and stuff like that. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see kind of, again, where episode 9 leads us, how they lead us into season 2, and really the timeline for season 2. I'm going to do some research for next Friday, or next Tuesday, rather. We kind of wrap up this first season with Manny being back too. So moving on, we also had some more Pedro Pascal this past week. Last Wednesday, episode 1, season 3 of The Mandalorian released. And, something I think that was almost forgotten about, after season 2 of The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Andor, so many other Disney Plus stuff, let alone just the Star Wars stuff, kind of come out. So we've kind of been on a little bit of hiatus of The Mandalorian, and we saw episode 1 now come out. And, obviously not a whole lot more setup for the season, understanding a little bit more of the history of Mandalore and the Mandalorians. As Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian kind of goes back to his roots to be forgiven by his sort of tribe for taking off his helmet, which is obviously for his, I guess, denomination of Mandalorians, they weren't allowed to. And you kind of get this, Bo-Katan is obviously of a different sect and she can take her helmets off. And, he had no idea. The Mandalorian's like, how are you taking your helmet off? You're not a real Mandalorian. And then he's kind of realizing, oh no, this is like you're part of like a rebellion almost. You guys broke away from the original Mandalorian sort of deal. So I think a lot of question in terms of the history of Mandalorian that they're going to answer this season. Of course, it was cool to see Bo-Katan. I believe she's played by a different actress this season, which is pretty interesting. I wonder how much we're going to see her from this season. But, we've seen shows do this before, Game of Thrones being one of them, where they kind of have a different actor replace, certain character. But it's interesting because, typically like last season, she was a pretty pivotal character, important character. And now seeing her played by a different actress is pretty interesting. But I guess we'll kind of see how they move along from there. But other than that, I mean, it was just a really good episode, I thought. Again, set up, you're kind of reintroduced. They do a nice recap too. You get, I forget the name of the town, but it's, basically Apollo Creed's character. They kind of reunite and he's trying to offer the Mandalorian, hey, like get a piece of land, come to my settlement, whatever, live a great life. And he's like, no, like I have business to take care of. Typical Mandalorian. I am the prize here. So I'm super stoked. The end of it is him kind of going to Mandalore, and kind of finding out again, like to go to the whatever river to wash in the river of Mandalore or wherever it is, and to try and be absolved of his wrongdoings and be accepted again as a Mandalorian, right? So he's kind of on like this, he's a free agent almost right now, which is pretty exciting. So next episode comes out tomorrow, actually. So episode 2 will probably be recapping on Friday. But it was really nice to see Mandalorian back at it again. I think I kind of forgot how freaking cool the show is. It really is almost like the pinnacle of Star Wars. I'm really interested to see, what type of action and villains kind of come out of this season. Yeah, I think it's going to be super cool. We saw a little bit of a gunfight, with the Mandalorian and Apollo Creed. I keep going Apollo Creed. It's so funny. I'm gonna do a little bit more research, I think on the names and stuff for Mandalorian, as it's been a while, as we know, since season 2. So but we saw a little bit gunfight there. Just again, clean, just mercenary, fucking cutthroat. Absolutely love it. It's a great show so far. I'm super pumped for season 3 and what's to come. But yeah, let me know if you guys what you're looking forward to most for the Mandalorian season 3. Again, I'm not 100% sure what to expect from this season, but like I said, I think it's going to be dope. Pedro Pascal, I mean, again, look at his career right now. I mean, season 1 of The Last of Us is ending. Season 3 of Mandalorian is just starting. A little bit of overlap with the first couple episodes and the last couple of The Last of Us. And then like it doesn't miss a beat, sort of deal. It's pretty cool, I think, to see that for him as an actor. And of course, I mean, I was looking forward to Sundays now for The Last of Us. I'll be looking forward to Wednesdays for The Mandalorian. So that's pretty dope. absolutely love that. Super stoked for the rest. You know, The Last of Us episode 9 to you know, cap off this season to start Mandalorian. I mean, what a time to be alive, people. But kind of moving on now into some more of our news. We do have 2 trailers to look at. The first one I want to start off with is a teaser trailer that came out, I believe, yesterday for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem teaser trailer. This is going to be produced and directed by Seth Rogen. You know, we have a pretty decent cast. You know, this movie is coming out in August of this year. Sorry, excuse me. The cast, obviously, Seth Rogen is voicing one of the characters. We do have, you know, a nice lineup of youth voicing, excuse me, the Ninja Turtles. You know, just looking at, again, it hasn't had full details. Jackie Chan is involved as one of the voices. John Cena, Giancarlo Esposito, Rose Byron, Paul Rudd, Ice Cube, Hannibal Buress, Post Malone, Maya Rudolph. So, you know, again, I think it's a good recipe for the, you know, young actors voicing the Turtles surrounded by a veteran cast. I think it's a good recipe for success here. And again, like produced by someone like Seth Rogen, I think is always good. You know, he does do great movies. And I think someone who probably grew up watching Ninja Turtles, and the fact that they are doing an animated version too, I think it's super cool. Just because I think, you know, live action that you know Mike watches so often, and is in you know around the studio here, it was done so well. But I think that, you know, that kind of, you know, as he kind of talks about it too, the overlap of CGI and like kind of real effects was really perfect for that movie. But, you know, as we talked about too with Mike, you know, they've had a lot of issues filming and stuff like that. And I just think at this point, you know, a lot of production companies would rather just do the actual VFX and not have to worry about any of that stuff, which kind of, I think, devalues the show a little bit. So just sticking to or the movie, sticking to the animated version, I think is gonna be great here. Because like I was saying, you know, I think the live action can get kind of creepy or weird. I mean, like the newer ones again that Michael was an extra in, like those ones were okay. But that's really just all they were. I think there's, you know, a lot to have been said for those movies. I mean, great job there, I suppose. But I think this animated one coming out this year is gonna be pretty fucking sweet, dude. Oh yeah, I forgot that we had a trailer set up for it. I was just like kind of rambling on about it. But let's take a look at the trailer, guys.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes,
Nice. One of these movies.
Stay still. Stay still.
No. Oh! Let's try that again, but with ninja stars.
Hey, why do we pick a fruit shaped exactly like my head?
Just stop talking. You're ruining my concentration.
You're fine. Chill. He's gonna die.
Wait, did you hear that? What was that? Well, nothing we can do. You guys want to grab pizza?
Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
What the heck are those things? They look like little Shreks to me.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
Oh, we've prepared our whole lives for this.
Can I kick it?
Oh my God! Oh my! I'm gonna be sick.
Leo, what happened? Is Donnie bleeding?
It was an accident. Mikey, watch out!
So you were baby turtles who made contact with mystery goo.
Well, we prefer the term ooze, but yeah,
It's like more like it's just nicer.
it rolls off the tongue better. Yeah.
Ooze.
It's nice, right? It's ooze.
Well, I mean, I think it looks pretty freaking awesome, honestly. I mean, I do really enjoy the animation. it kind of reminds me of Into the Spideyverse sort of animation, which is pretty cool. It's like almost like a mix of like 2D and 3D animation. Some aspects look a little flat, some aspects have more depth to it, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, we played Mutant Mayhem way back when on Gaming Corner, and that was kind of a 2D, a game, so it was pretty cool. And I think they're kind of, Seth Rogen obviously paying homage to the original game, by using that type of animation. And I think it was a good teaser. You get a good feel for the interaction you would have with the Mutant Ninja Turtles here, which I think is going to be super youthful, but again, I think there's going to be a serious undertone to the movie, as there typically is, right? In movies like this that kind of have youthful characters, especially like crime fighting youthful characters, right? There really is kind of a serious undertone. And I do think that it's cool that he didn't really showcase like anyone else besides the Turtles in this one. Obviously a lot of big names you saw in the teaser attached to the movie. Why showcase? I mean, they're the names. The names will just get the people in theaters in general. So like, don't have to, leave the people wanting more sort of deal. So a really great teaser, I think, coming out of here. Great soundtrack, obviously. Looks like there's gonna be some fun action, some fun parts. I think this is gonna be a really great movie. I'm super stoked to see it. It's gonna be in theaters, as I mentioned, in August of this year, August 4th. It looks like it's gonna be in theaters. So again, super cool. And I understand, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of like a I guess like a characters or word that's been done before, at least twice, not to mention, actual like cartoon series. So, it's something that, like I said, has been done before. We kind of know their story, not to the extent of like how DC's overdone it with Superman or Batman countless times, or even Spider-Man too. But I think it's cool that, maybe they're using an animated one to set up some type of series. I would imagine, based on the success of this one, Seth Rogen would be hired to do more. I would imagine that that's kind of the intent, not to have just a one-off movie. So kind of hoping that this is going to do well, just because, like I said, the teaser looks good. It's something that hasn't been done in a while. Something that really hasn't been done, I suppose, well, since back then. Because, like I said, we watched the 90s ones, which are so good, they really are. I mean, the suits, the actors, the dialogue, even the action in it is really good. And then, when you hear the story behind the characters who have to wear like these 70-pound suits, switch into a different lighter suit for action scenes, but they had less movement or less like, mechanical stuff in it. So, leaves a lot to talk about. So I'm super stoked, I think, for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And yeah, so obviously we'll keep you updated until August. I'm sure there'll be some more trailers, some more news. Hopefully, we get introduced to like Jackie Chan's character and stuff like that, and to see, who necessarily plays the villain. And just kind of looking at the IMDb page, I actually wonder if any of the characters, okay, looks like Giancarlo Esposito is Baxter Stockman. Rose Byron is Leatherhead. Paul Rudd is Mando Gecko. Jackie Chan is Master Splinter. John Cena will be Rocksteady. I really like that. Seth Rogen is Bebop. Post Malone is Ray Fillet. Ice Cube is Superfly. Hannibal Buress is Genghis Frog. Maya Rudolph is Cynthia Utrom. And obviously, the kids as, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello. So that's pretty sweet. Looks like we do have some characters attached to these actors. I think John Cena, Rocksteady. Again, playing the game, Rocksteady is probably one of the more memorable characters for me. And I think John Cena playing him, I mean, it makes sense. Not only kind of looks, rock-ish, but, I think he can kind of have that nice, funny voice, but also serious, like WWE, like just mentality sort of deal. So I think that's going to be great. Again, I mean, so far, great cast, I think. And yeah, I'm super stoked. I mean, I think a lot of these characters, a lot of these actors have had some voice acting experience. I think a lot of them will have fun with it. Maya Rudolph, Paul Rudd. I mean, that's just great job there. I think it's gonna be so dope. High expectations, which I hope isn't a bad thing. But nonetheless, moving on, dude, to our next piece of news, which is another trailer. And our final trailer actually for today is Ghosted. Trailer number 1 was released yesterday. The Ana de Armas Chris Evans movie. This is the first official trailer. It's gonna be released April 21st in the US. I believe in theaters. I'm gonna double check right now. Ghosted movie 2023 theaters. So I'm correct. Looks like we have Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Scarlett Johansson's in the movie as well. Nice reunion with Chris Evans. Adrian Brody's in the movie as well. Lizzie Broadway looks like, and no one really else. Tate Donovan is kind of one of those guys who shows up. So is Tim Blake Nelson, someone who just kind of like is in a lot of movies as these minor character roles. Excuse me. John Cho is Harold, from Harold and Kumar. That's just pretty interesting. I haven't seen him in a lot. I think he's in Star Trek, probably the most recent thing I've seen him in. But that's gonna be pretty solid. Let's take a look at this trailer again. Releasing April 21st. It's gonna be like an action-y movie. So like I said, let's take a look at this guy right here.
I was just wondering if you wanted to, go out sometime.
You want to get a coffee?
Now?
Yes, now.
I'll just hang on.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be.
Her name is Sadie.
Who wakes up next to you?
I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I think she might be the one.
I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you.
She really is great. You'll see.
Any word?
She ghosted him.
I bet she isn't even seeing your text.
She does travel a lot for work.
Go to her.
I'm going to London.
See, you get it. It's a grand romantic gesture.
Yeah, that is amazing, mate. 5,000 miles to surprise a girl who you've only met once, especially if she's the one who ghosted you.
No, she didn't ghost me. She just doesn't have an international calling plan.
Oh, right.
Where am I?
Oh, God, you have the wrong guy? I'm a farmer. Wait.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Can you walk, Gold? Say to you.
Who are you?
CIA.
I'm so confused. They kept asking me about the tax man.
They asked you about the taxman.
They think I am a tax man. You're the tax man.
Oh my God.
Oh, my God. You got me kidnapped and tortured all after one day. I saw the rock.
You're the one who flew to London.
It was a romantic gesture. Get every bounty hunter on the continent. I want her alive.
This is bigger than you and me.
Didn't it ever occur to you that he could be a foreign asset trying to compromise your mission?
Who the hell are you? I'm the boyfriend.
Do you trust me?
Is that a joke?
All right, so Apple TV, April 21st, possibly going to be nominated for the worst movie of the year. I don't know if you heard any of that, Renee. I don't know if you saw any of that. But that movie looked absolutely horrific. I mean, I kind of read like action rom-com type, and I kind of thought like Chris Evans, leading guy. I understand obviously Ana de Armas, leading woman. But I kind of expected them both to be like the act. I didn't think it would be. I thought it was like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of deal. Okay, And Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a great movie because they're both like secret agents and they're both doing their own thing and they're pinned against each other, whatever, dude. Great. And then Vince Vaughn comes in with a little bit of action here. Kerry Washington, great movie. Okay. This is not at all like Mr. and Mrs. Smith in the slightest, I think. This is trash, honestly. Apple TV, bad job, I think, for this. And I'm sorry, but Adrian Brody sounded ridiculous. I love Adrian Brody. Excuse me. Come on. Like, are you serious right now? It's just like, I understand, like, you know, I feel like a good rom-com hasn't really come along. I mean, I suppose, was it Crazy Stupid Love? Was a good one. But, you know, a few weeks ago, you know, I was at my girlfriend's place. We watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And that movie is fucking great, dude. Like, that movie is awesome. Okay. And it's a rom-com. And Kate Hudson, Matthew McConaughey, just overall great job. Like, it's funny. It's an actually good movie. It's not just like a stupid rom-com. This looks like a stupid rom-com that I won't be able to get through. Because I can already see right now. It's like I'm the boyfriend. That's his fucking line, dude. Where Scarlett Johansson comes into the air, who the hell knows? Crazy X, something, some stupid joke, I'm sure. And we know Ana de Armas is pretty, you know, big right now, especially in the action movies. She was in James Bond. She has her own spinoff from John Wick, as well as being in the new John Wick 2. And of course, we know Chris Evans, Captain America, but he hasn't really been, I think, in this type of role where, you know, he is we saw him in the Gray Man action. But again, he hasn't been the guy who's like the vulnerable, you know, he's getting ghosted. He goes on the trip. He doesn't know what's going on, sort of deal. And again, you can already see it happening where it's like, okay, now he's being dragged along this secret mission with Ana de Armas. And you can tell, like, all of a sudden now he's fucking cocking the shotgun and shooting people. And it's like all of a sudden now he's like a secret agent. I was like, oh man, I can do a fight, like wear a suit and run around and shit. Like, no, not believable. I don't have Apple TV, and I wouldn't even pirate this movie. It's up to me. I think it looks like an absolute shit show. Totally trash, dude. Absolute trash, I think. My roommate Jay has Apple TV, and you know, maybe if I catch him one night watching it, I will scold him for it, but then I'll probably finish watching it with him. And that'll be that, I think, really, for Ghosted, dude. I mean, what a stupid idea. Why would they think that could work? And like, other than, you know, Apple TV, you know, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they've had some good things coming for them their way. Obviously, Ted Lasso, which is actually, I mentioned that, I believe this next season is gonna be the last season for Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis is like, I want to wrap up his story, sort of deal. So, I mean, hey, man, more power to you, I think, and you know, wrap it up. 3 seasons. I mean, no need to overdo it. But maybe Apple TV a little bit worried in terms of what they're putting out there in terms of original content. Who the hell knows, honestly? But I don't know. Again, if it's around me, I guess maybe I'll tune in and watch this movie. But Ghosted, dude, especially the whole like, who the hell would get ghosted by a chick after one night and then want to go to England? You know, Jay. So very, very odd. Very odd that I don't know, dude. Not believable. Can't do it. Hate it. That's it, dude. So, that's actually really all the news I honestly have for you guys today. I'm just double checking my notes here to make sure. Yeah, I think that's really it, dude. Yeah. All right, cool, guys. Well, I think that would pretty much do it for me. Ana de Armas, dude. I mean, I don't know, dude. She kind of blowing it. Like, why is she taking oh, actually 1 hour ago, Scream 6 final trailer. Let's just take a look at it, dude. Why not? Honestly. I mean, we're here, we're hanging around. 1 hour ago, or it's just 2 hours ago, it says now. Let's share this tab instead. Let's get out of here. Let's go into there and let's go Scream final trailer. This is coming out this month, by the way. Again, you know, I've been hammering away that March is going to be a huge, huge month for movies. And I really do think that Scream is going to be it's going to be good, dude. So let's watch this trailer while we're here. It came out 2 hours ago. Scream 6 final trailer. Let's go.
It's for you.
Strange that you and I have never spoken on the phone. This is long overdue.
What is this place? A shrine.
Did you miss me?
He's gonna keep coming after us. Maybe he gets to win this time. We've got to lure him in. Maybe execute him.
Scream.
I hear you're a horror fan.
It's been said.
Everywhere Friday.
Comes out on Friday, dude. I know what Michael probably doesn't want to see. Probably that, dude. That's okay though. Honestly, if you ask me, I think maybe they released like one too many trailers for Scream. Just because come on, like all those shots were still in the fucking other trailers. So like, what am I looking at that's new? Nothing, dude. So, anyway, dude, I'm pumped for Scream. This Friday comes out. That's pretty huge, honestly. And I think kind of unorthodox. Again, you think of Scream, a slasher movie, October release, September release, the fall, the Halloween, it's getting kind of colder, getting more scary out, the darker, earlier screaming people. But come out in early March, dude. Get ready for spring. You think you want to be a happy full spring? No, you're gonna fucking die, dude. So I think it's gonna be great. I'm a big Scream fan. I don't know. I like those slashers that are fucking gory and a little stupid, kind of like I guess you could say a guilty pleasure if you really wanted to, but I don't know. I do say it quite often on the show too. I find that more believable than like the other shows that the Annabelle or the Nun or something, or even like the Conjuring, dude. Give me this guy, Screaming the Mask, dude. That's real. I am going to sneeze. Possibly not, though. So yeah, guys. I mean, that's pretty much actually all the news. A little trailer on the way out for you. Scream coming out on Friday. I recommend you guys go see it. Honestly, I mean, Friday night, dude. Saturday matinee show. I think get a cheap ticket, dude. Some popcorn. You can come outside. It's still daylight. You won't be as scared as if you're going to see it at night. So I would recommend that. And if you're watching this right now, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this as an archived video, as Brian likes to say, thanks for tuning in. But yeah, if obviously feel free to comment here. Anything what you like about this video, anything you don't like. We've had recently some comments about things they don't like people, but criticisms are always super important to me. Especially, criticizing myself, dude. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in here. If you enjoyed this video, go check out the rest of the Screen Time playlist on Downtime TV's YouTube to check out any other, hot button movie, screen, television news that you want to hear and discuss about. We're on every Tuesday and Friday at noon for the most part. So obviously, mark your calendars. Feel free to come in while you're on Downtime TV's page. You can sub to the channel. Try and reach 1,000. We're almost at 900 right now, just a tick away. And then hit that notifications button so when we are live, so you can hop on real quick, see what we're talking about, engage with us, ask us some questions, get some knowledge, get some discussion in you, get some brain waves going, dude. It's what we're all here for. And then also we're on every other social media outlet, you name it. TikTok is a big one we're trying to push right now too, because TikTok is hot with the young kids, dude. The youth is our future. Babies today will be adults tomorrow, dude. So think about that as you enter the Twilight Zone. Sight and sounds. So yeah, that'd be pretty much it, dude. I want to thank all you guys again for tuning in. Again, I keep saying a lot and I hate it, but huge month, I think, for movies coming up. Screen coming out on Friday. The Last of Us, you've even watched, catch up on it, watch those. Super worthy. Actually, Drink Masters. I haven't talked about Drink Masters. Okay, so Drink Masters was one thing I kind of wanted to talk about here that I totally forgot, and it was on my watch list. But it's a show on Netflix, one season out. It's a competition show, almost like Ink Masters, right? If you guys have ever watched Ink Masters, so people compete, best tattoo artists, people coming in and compete as the best bartender, and holy fucking shit. These bartenders, I mean, again, like I feel like an asshole now going to a bar and ordering like a gin and tonic or JMO ginger, because these guys like are fucking blast freezing shit and torching other stuff and mixing just ridiculous ingredients and making outlandish, delicious drinks, it seems. They even serve them with food, sometimes a little appetizer with the drink to pair it with. This is really like giving me a whole new look at the art of drink making, of mixology, as they call it. I know it kind of sounds a little bit like, like take it easy, buddy. You highbrow and but it really is really cool. And it's, dude, people were getting fucked up on the show, not like drunk because of drinks, but like one dude used like dry ice in his drink. And the judge was like, yo, like if you like fucked up the dry ice, like this could create like a carbon dioxide pocket in my throat and I could die. I'm not going to drink this. You're out. And it was like, whoa, dude. Like even the other judge was like, we're not, like, this is dangerous. Like, yeah, you took the risk, but I'm not drinking this because I don't know you. And you're like, holy shit, dude. Like, imagine. So be careful out there. Don't let any bartender use, like dry ice, dude. It's dude. But it's super cool. Obviously, one of those game shows on Netflix is one season. I think it's 10 episodes. Something you can kind of binge while you're gonna go to bed, or if you're cleaning or cooking in the background, having it on in the living room. Just because, like I said, it's a competition show. It's super fun. You learn a lot about drinks and like, ingredients of drinks that kind of go well together, citrus and not, and sweet and sour. There was one challenge where it was like, you have to make spicy drinks, or you have to do like a margarita. A margarita is something that's been, obviously, it's everywhere. You can get a margarita anywhere, but it's so simple and there's been so many different variations. So like make us an original margarita flavor. And it's super cool. Obviously, it's timed almost like, like any other food game show, something like that. So it's super fun to watch. And again, it's just something that's light and easy and fun. And you may not like everyone on the show. I didn't like some characters on the show. Like, I fucking hate this guy. But some of them are pretty cool, So, and again, you learn a lot about drinks. And I would love to see the look on that bartender's face when I go to my local bar and I order one of those fancy schmancy drinks. And I'm like, oh, well, you just got to like take a peanut and blowtorch it for 30 seconds and then, pour your vodka through the peanut and funnel it down into a different glass, then shake it up with a piece of mint that you rolled up and you kissed and then you threw in there. Because it's just crazy shit like that, dude. So that being said, I would give that show for game shows. I mean, I don't know. Game shows are kind of tough because I feel like, everyone's got a sappy story. Everyone starts crying or something. But for game shows, the format, it's moved along really well. It's actually pretty interesting too, because I'm watching the first episode and it was kind of dry. It wasn't as quick. It dragged on a little bit. And then episode 2 seemed like there was some time had passed because the host had all of a sudden grown a mustache, and they had some different editing techniques where they would kind of break up, I guess, kind of like not only breaking up like each like challenge, but breaking up the challenge within, like where within each challenge where it's like, oh, the person like deciding, and they even talk about like the first thing these bartenders do is they take out a notebook and they start writing shit down sort of ingredients. So they kind of broke it up and really made it kind of a quicker show and easier to watch. So honestly, because of the improvement, I'd give it like an 8.2 out of 10 in terms of game shows. And it's something, like I said, fun, informative, educational. It's a good time. And, everyone likes a good beverage every once in a while. So that being said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in yet again. yeah, super stoked about all the different types of movies and shows you can watch out there. So, you know, it's Tuesday, you're working, it's lunchtime right now. Go out there, you know, finish your day, go home, put something on the TV, watch something new. We'll be back here on Friday to recap episode 2 of The Mandalorian. Manny back in studio for the show. It's going to be super, super fun, I think, talking about The Mandalorian with him. Because, again, you know, Manny's good with the visuals and talking about the different types of shots and what kind of goes through each scene and stuff like that. So, super stoked for that. So, stay tuned for Friday. Of course, I'll see you in the Sports Port tomorrow morning. But until then, like I said, you know, thanks for tuning in and go out there and watch something new. Deuces.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do.